Okay. All right. All right. So this today is kind of like a big vision idea. Of course, Zachary's just over 2 years old, and we like to say that parenting is the greatest responsibility in the world, where our kids are really carbon copies of us, of our frequency, of our energy. Of course, they have their own individual ideas, of course. But this word Freedom Day is the day that our kids leave our home. And I know this is certainly something I don't want to think about. Having young kids at home, I enjoy so much time being with them and spending time with them and giggling and laughing and just having all these memories. But Freedom Day is, as you know, the day that they leave. So with all the challenges that we have with parenting, mainly just living, maintaining a life, maintaining our family, our home, our career, whatever it is that we do, we have all this now energy and all this focus going into doing things today only. So today's presentation and idea and philosophy is about extending that concept to when our kids move out for a minute, to Zachary, to suspend the idea of, yes, we have a lot to do today, but let's consider something in the future and let's have a conversation about it. And that's kind of what we're doing today. So, of course, we have an awesome opportunity. And I would ask you this question, what were your favorite things in your childhood? What were the favorite memories that you have? And what are the things that your family did? And what was Sunday dinner like, if that was something? What was all of these memory making opportunities are what we have now. I made a post not too long ago about, do you intentionally have your children giggle? Something I like to do with Zachary. He's a good giggler, so he makes it easier. But these memories of them growing up, their happiness is a part of what they remember about their childhood. So this Freedom Day is the idea of how we have from now until our kids leave the house to be prepared for a life of success or fulfillment or capabilities. And so what does it look like for you to create this experience for your kids, right? So the first thing I want to talk about is family vision. Beginning with the end in mind is something written by Stephen Covey. It's a great book, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, where we begin today on working toward a vision, and we have this vision in our mind. We talked about this today in staff training, about a vision of how a class looks and how it moves. And so that when something is off in our vision, we can identify it pretty quickly and we can help our students. And so the family vision is to begin with the end in mind. And this, what I say, I keep one eye short and one eye long. And again, I'm going back to the difficulties of being a parent and being so busy with work and family and career and, just keeping your house clean or doing all chores and things of this nature. But we also have to have an eyeball on the future and where we're headed and what we're going toward. So this idea here is, for me, what can I do from now until my kids leave the house that absolutely can put them in the best place mentally, physically, and emotionally? You'll hear us talk a lot about that at Mastery, where they're developing skills and emotions, they're understanding them, they're relating to them in a way where when they get out into the world, they'll make good choices that are in their best interest. And the learning and the maturity, and you've probably seen at Mastery, we have a lot of young teenagers who are really mature, and that's part of the training. And this is going to be another video that we create after this. But to me, as you can read here, the highest level for my parenting is that, how do I prepare my children for that Freedom Day, that I'm no longer with them, meaning day to day as much as I am today, which kills me to think about, right? So the goal date is when they move out. And of course, just as I alluded to, this can have a lot of emotions. I have so much fun with my kids that I want them to always be this age. And this is, Zoe and I have this joke all the time. She's 5. And so when she wakes up in the morning, I look at her, I go, "You got bigger today, Zoe. You promised me you wouldn't grow." And she giggles, we giggle. And she said, "Daddy, I can't help it." So the emotion of knowing that our kids someday are going to be on their own thinking about that could be terrifying, but it also can really kind of make us present today to consider that this day is coming and there's nothing that's going to stop it. It is going to happen. So what can we do now? And what kind of things that I alluded to early in the video, creating memories and experiences that allow them to really always feel loved and to always know that you're going to, as a parent, obviously always be there for them in full support. So I want you to be present now and think about that. And I have some things that I want to share with you that are going to be very specific, that are really easy, by the way. But the point is just to interrupt kind of our busy lives as parents for a minute and stop the day-to-day stuff, the redundancies, if you will, and get us to a place where we can stop for a moment and think about this day. So one of the things that I've always talked about is birth to 18, meaning the moment our children are born until they're 18, right? We have 18 years. I've heard it said we have 18 summers. Last time I checked, we had 4 seasons. So it's 18 4 seasons, not just 18 summers. And this is something I share a lot with parents. The moment our kids are born, we have 100% control over what they experience, what they see, what influences them. That we don't have any control on how they feel about it yet, but we have 100% influence over them. And so this timeline, this is just rough numbers, like I made that up. And so at what age between birth and 18 do we start to lose that parenting influence? At what age do they begin to get exposed to more people outside of the home with good intentions or not, versus our influence over them? And then, of course, by the time they're 18, as you know, they're an adult now, and they want to go enjoy the world and experience it using the gifts, the talents, the energy, the focus, the discipline that they currently have to go explore the world. And obviously can be frightening for us, but if we help prepare our kids for this day, then it could be nothing short of just amazing, right? A good mentor of mine says that when our kids are young, we should help them learn about all these things. So when they're older, we can enjoy them and we can enjoy the relationship at a different level as our kids get older. But, unfortunately, if some kids don't have that upbringing, maybe their character is not as strong as you would like it to be, or maybe the choices and decision-making is external and not internal based on their heart and what they believe is right. And of course, these kids kind of get misled in different directions. So here's the exercise for you today and the thoughts that I'd like you to consider. So Freedom Day, let's just call it 18. Graduate high school, go to work, go to trade school, go to the military, go to college, right? All these variables and kids will take all these different paths. So I want you to think for a minute what that's like. They turn 18, they're now an adult. And of course, if you know any 18-year-olds, they want to feel like an adult. And we want them to be an adult, but we also want them to be able to handle the freedom and the responsibility that comes with that. And so we have from now until then to prepare them for this. So here's the first thought I want you to think about for a minute and just let it sink in. When your child's 18, who will they be? Who will they be? Just think about it for a minute. And obviously this is a time in the future. It's not who they are today. Of course, who they are today and who the vision you have of them is what we call the gap. And the gap is what we work on. Okay, number 2, describe the way you see your child as an individual as you see them on this day. Maybe it's the day they go off to college. Who are they? Describe them. This is a fun exercise. I've done this already with both of my kids, 5 and 2, a little over prepared, but it gives me a vision of what I believe would be their best. Obviously there's no perfect scenario here, but there are better things that we can help them become adjusted to with all the challenges that they're going to face, which they can't possibly know. Some of the challenges that I've faced and so many of the challenges that you face and how we've dealt with that. Describe your child in as much detail as you can. Get it vivid about this future when they're 18, right? Describe them emotionally. We live in a world today that you see the data coming out with Facebook is Facebook's intention with social media is to manipulate people's emotions. It's by design. It's terrible, but it's what's going on. So Tony Robbins taught me a long time ago. I went to his first seminar when I was 19 years old. He said, the person who controls their emotions wins. And I don't know if it's about winning or losing, but I do know it's about when you have more emotional control, you have a life that's not so up and down. I'm sure you've seen these people on Facebook. I'm happy, I'm sad, I love people, I hate people, within the same day. That's quite the roller coaster ride. So what can we do to emotionally make our kids more centered and more in tune to their feelings, so they're not, somebody's not pulling the strings? What are the values that they hold dearly? What are these values?
This one.
What habits are they growing up with? Now, I know if you're a mastery parent and your children are in mastery, we have what we call the 4 steps to character development: structure, emotion, knowledge, and legacy. Structure is using discipline to obey what is right and follow the rules. Emotion is having a positive attitude. Yes, I can. And a passion for life. Knowledge is learning what we used at mastery and apply it to all areas of your life, which is what Ofer calls the great transfer. And then, of course, legacy, being a leader and a role model for others to follow. What are some of their character traits? You know them better than anybody. They're your children. You know what motivates them. You know what scares them. You know what challenges them. You know what makes them upset. You know better than anybody. What does their social life look like? I know many people come into mastery because their children have trouble making friends. They're shy. It doesn't mean that they lack confidence. They just, like my daughter, she needs time to warm up. So every child is different. So what does their social life look like? Do they make friends easily? Is it difficult for them? Now, these questions I'm sharing with you today are just big ideas. I mean, you can build as many thoughts as you want into this philosophy. What do they like to be around? For me, many of my friends describe me as intense. Some people say, Mr. Horton, how do you, like, I'm going on over 30 years of owning mastery. And they're like, how do you stay so motivated? I'm more motivated now than I was when I was younger because I have a greater vision, and my belief in how we help people is greater than it's ever been. So of course, I look forward to going to work every day or building more of what we do with mastery. I get more and more excited about it. What is your experience of being around them? Your experience. And then, of course, the last question is, what kind of person do they become in the version? And as you're imagining this future 18-year-old child, who are they becoming? Who are they becoming? So I invite you to, if not now, sometime soon, to sit down and have this conversation with yourself or your spouse or your partner and go through them and just go through step by step. This is what they call family vision. In the next couple of videos, we're going to be talking about some very powerful philosophies. I know on an emotional level for my daughter, I know that when she's upset, I've learned that I can only, and I only do, is I do this. I hold my hands out like this. And what I'm saying to her is, come get a hug. I'm not going to try to tell her not to fight her emotions. I'm not going to tell her she shouldn't be upset. I just show her support. I hold my hands, and 80% of the time, she'll come into my arms and just lay there and hug me. And then she begins to find her center again, and she calms down. It's a simple thing. So long-term here with this philosophy, again, video 1 today is what the framework of what we call Freedom Day. And we have from now until they leave our house. And again, it's a terrifying thought for me as well. But this day will happen. So what are we doing to prepare our kids from now until then? The emotional development, the mental development, obviously the physical development, the leadership development that we teach at Mastery. So what I like to do now, what I like to do now is just ask your input about what's happening with your kids at Mastery and some of the things that you've really enjoyed that they learned so far, and how you can see how this can relate to that. If anybody wants to go first, you can unmute yourself and uncamera yourself. All I'm seeing is names on the screen right now. Wendy's connecting on the Wendy's iPad. Well, I'm happy to say nobody has any embarrassing names tonight on their screensaver. I've seen all kinds of stuff. Does anybody have any takeaways from these questions, the thoughts that you'd like to share? Mute. Who wants to go first? I see some of you just chimed in late. We just went through some slides talking about what we refer to as Freedom Day. And Freedom Day is the day that our kids leave our house. You know, and another thing about when they leave off to college, off to work, off to the military, trade school, whatever, when they do leave, it's not like they're leaving, right? It's a natural progression to life. You left, I left. And of course, our relationship with our family and our parents evolves because we evolve. So it's not something to be afraid of. It's something to embrace. It's natural. So my question to you is, these questions that we just covered, which of these questions resonate with you the most? How do you see your child emotionally in the future? And in the next videos, we're going to spend some time talking about a few different models. All right, Carla, go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
This is actually Melissa. We're here together.
Oh, hi, Melissa. Can you put your video on so I can see you?
Oh, sure. I don't know why it's off. Hold on.
Better than looking at a black screen. I feel all alone here by myself. There you are. Good. Hi.
So I guess something that we're having a little bit of, or I'm having a little struggle with is, so my son is Croy. Our son is Croy. And he tends to get upset and then shut down and not want to talk at all. Sometimes I can get him to tell me things, sometimes not. So I think that that's just a struggle that we're having. Do you have any suggestions on, because that's part of the emotional piece that I just want to get better at, is being, I feel like I'm there, but when you don't want to say something to me, I don't know how to get over that, you know?
Yeah. So how old is he?
6.
He's 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Have you tried the hugging thing like I do? Just hug. And then once we reconnect, then the language starts to come out. I think we sometimes we get in our own way emotionally, like they're not responding the way we want them to. Sometimes they just need space. And I read something the other day, because I'm on a few parents pages that are about emotional intelligence, and we could all be better at it. But what I heard was their brain is still under construction.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, I
your
just don't
brain,
want it to get away from us before, you know, I don't want it to get too deep with that behavior before, you know, we fix it in whatever way we can.
is it when he hits a challenge?
What would you say?
More if like a bad situation happened and he doesn't want to talk about it in that moment of like
So
how he's
something is-
feeling about it.
Something at
But then
home?
he'll say like, I never want to talk about it. Like, no, let's just forget it. We don't have to discuss it. And I'm like, yeah, we do.
Yeah, I think just allowing them to have that feeling and sit there with it is okay. I don't think, I mean, feelings are, I mean, we all have them, right? We don't know we don't know what it sort of, Robin says, 2 things happen when something happens to us. What does this mean to me? And what am I going to do about it? What is this? So they're still going through that mental process. What does this mean to me? What am I going to do about it? But for me, there are times when Zoe just gets upset and I hug her. If she doesn't want to hug, then I give her space. I don't feel like it needs to be fixed today. And then my 2-year-old son, we were in New Hampshire a couple weeks ago. He took something, threw it at the TV and smashed it.
No way. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So what'd you do?
I went and bought another one. I mean,
Oh my God.
he doesn't know what he's doing.
That's true.
He's
I
just
mean,
having fun.
he's two.
He's just having fun. So luckily I can laugh about it, right? It's a good story. We recorded it. I tell the story about creating an Instagram account, locking it for your kids so you can journal their life. It's a great time capsule, so to speak. And I do this with both my kids. So they love to go back, like Zoe, now that her brother's two. You want to come say hi? Come on over here. So Zoe loves to say, Daddy, show me baby Zoe when I was Zachary's age.
Oh, yes. We hear it.
Yeah, this is the one that broke the TV.
Aw.
And these new TVs are so flimsy that anything really with any amount of pressure will break it. So he didn't mean it.
Yes. We almost had a golf club to TV yesterday.
I would say that I think they're still learning about the emotions. I am not an expert. I have a link to a group I think you'll love if I could send it to
that'd be
you.
great.
Yeah, it's a beautiful page. She's from Australia, and my wife's actually done a few online classes with her. And the woman, really smart, really smart.
Mhm.
Say hi. Well, thanks for being here and asking.
Yeah, thanks.
Again, I'm still learning about it.
Yeah.
All I would say is be patient. They're still under development. They're trying to figure it out. Their emotions are their emotions. I think my wife gets more embarrassed when our kids do things than I do. I'm not embarrassed by what they do because they're kids. I expect them to do embarrassing things.
Mhm.
I mean, I just expect it. I don't get upset about it. There's one of the videos that we'll be talking about is the expectation model. What we expected, what we got, and what do we do about it? And the expectation model is actually, I have a friend that's built an AI software on human behavior. And they've studied over 100,000 people, and they found that happiness is the gap between what you expected and what you got.
Well, I think
So
that is very interesting. And I think it really ties into this, what I'm saying here and what the issue I have is because am I expecting too much, which clearly might be the case here. So how do I manage that? And, I guess I just need that kind of help. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll send you
That'd
the
be
link. Yeah, there's a lot of
That'd be
great,
awesome.
there's a lot of great thoughts in it. So I appreciate
Great,
you
thank you.
saying hello. All right,
Thank
who's going to be brave and who's next?
Really brave one.
Yeah, you were brave. I appreciate you guys being brave. Cutie pie. No one else is going to be brave?
I'll say something.
Oh, good. Who's that? Oh, good. Kim.
Kim, hi. So my son, he's 9. He's been with Mastery for 4 years now. And when we first started, he was really shy. And I guess that was probably part of the reason that we enrolled him, is we wanted him to build confidence. And I feel like that's really happened. And he's now the kid who will, like, on the playground, he'll just go up to anyone, say, hey, do you want to play with me? And off they go, running off, whereas before he would be attached to me at the hip. So we've seen this enormous change in him. And just thinking about the Freedom Day, I guess I just hope that'll continue. And I hope he hasn't been very involved in the leadership classes at Mastery, but I do hope that that's sort of been instilled in him in some way anyway. And I did just get a very nice message from his teacher saying that he does help a lot of his, like if he finishes his homework first or his schoolwork in class, he'll help his fellow students. So I really hope that sort of helping model will continue. And I could see him being.
That is so great that he does that.
Yeah.
I wonder. So my martial arts teacher, Sifu Neal, he just passed away a couple weeks ago. He had COVID, and he was an incredible thinker. And so when he trained us in martial arts, we always teach to the highest physical level in the black belt class because we're trying to raise the level. I almost feel like school today teaches to the lowest level. just to get kids past, just so their numbers look good and graduation rate, even though some of the high level kids. So I love the concept of kids who are doing really well. Why can't they help some of the other kids and create this other structure within the class that the teacher gets other people like your son, who might be a little bit above average, he gets to participate. I think it's a great experience.
Right.
So-
Yeah. And I was really surprised and very pleased to hear that from the teacher. You know, I didn't know he was doing that. And of course he tells me nothing. So it was great to hear from the teacher that he was doing that with his fellow students. So
Well, seeing you asked about the leadership, the methodology that we created is called triangulation. So the focus of leadership is what we call confident communication. And the active ingredients to it, of participation, if you will, is we start with triangulation, where the kids get in a group of triangle and they practice a script. And it sounds like this: feet together, set, bow, yes, I can, horse stands with me.
mhm.
1 stir, 2 stir, 3 stir, set and bow. Every time a child has a positive experience doing that, they believe, oh, I can do that. That wasn't so hard. Most of the time, the things that seem emotionally challenging to us, it's because it's the unexpected, the unknown. We don't
Right.
know what to do with it yet. So
Right.
we're having this opportunity within every leadership class to practice this methodology. Mrs. Force, Mr. West, Mr. Bazzola, Mr. Russo, they've been raised on this method. This is what we discovered this 20 years ago. The second part of it is the leadership pillars. So you'll hear the life skill pillars. They're using their body and their words. So when we use verbal and nonverbal together, they're learning both sides of the communication model. And then the third part, which a lot of people aren't aware of, is during the language part of leadership, we have them talk loud or soft, fast and slow and loud, slow and fast, or slow and loud. So we let them know that they don't have to talk either really fast or really slow or really loud or
Oh, I lost you. I can't hear you anymore.
verbal training is powerful too. Standing tall, feeling good, eyes forward, that kind of thing. So that's awesome. I'm happy to hear that his confidence has grown.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. All right, we have two brave. It's always the women who goes first. Why is that? That's me just challenging the men right now.
Hello,
Oh,
sir.
we got. All right.
So
See what happens? You didn't hook him right out of it.
it's like a fish. You caught me. So Chloe takes class at Cumberland, and since she's been taking class for Little Dragons, I've noticed a huge change. The problem that I'm facing is that so Chloe did the championship and at Cumberland, where they did the kicking, the jumping to earn a medal. And I was afraid. I was never a parent where I thought that all kids should get a trophy. But when you have kids, it's like, you're driving in to go to this competition that she's looking forward to, and all she was talking about the night before is, Dad, am I going to win a medal? Am I going to win a medal? And I said, you know what, if you try your best and hopefully you do. And as I'm driving her to the competition, to the championship, I'm thinking in my head, like, what happens if she doesn't win one? How is she gonna have a meltdown? Is she gonna be so upset that she doesn't want to go back and do it? Is she gonna be so down on herself? And I'm now as the parent, I'm starting to get worried, because I went from before not having kids to not thinking that, not being one of those people that thought everyone should get a medal, everyone should get a trophy. And now I'm in a different position. Now I have, 4-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. And I'm thinking to myself, like, could this be devastating to her? So she went in, did it. And in her age group, there are only 3 of them. And she did well. She did very well. She got a medal, and her brother was sitting over on the side, cheering her on. And what I saw next, I looked at Mrs. Force, and it like brought tears in my eyes. She took her medal off of her neck, which I thought was going to mean so much to her, and gave it to her brother Max and said, "You deserve this. You did a good job sitting in the viewing area," and put it, literally took it off her neck and put it around him. So I guess more so not what I'm worried about my kids, but more so me, is that when that time comes, the 18 years old, the Freedom Day, that as a parent scares the hell out of me, just because it's not a controlled environment anymore. And it's not like, right now it's a controlled environment where we let them go around people we trust and who we think has good influence on them, and don't let them around, people that we don't think have a good influence on them. But I don't want to be an overprotective parent to the point where, that hurts them later on down the road. So any advice
Well,
would be
Yeah.
would be great.
We call him Snacky, as you can tell. We went from a lollipop to a popsicle. So, we have some history together. So you overcame that day in Block Island when someone outran you and caught a football. You remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
All right, good. So, I mean, these failing moments give us great opportunity to just explain to our kids that we don't win all the time. And so this winter, because of COVID, I lived in New Hampshire. So we have a house up there. We're a ski family and we like to ski. Zachary's going to learn this year. You're going to learn how to ski? Yeah. And so Zoe and I rode the ski lift a lot. And those are my favorite moments all winter, of just sitting on the chairlift and talking to her on the ride up. So Zoe, watching the race team all year, said, "Daddy, I want to be in the race team." I'm like, "Zoe, it is not about winning. It's about learning. And then as we learn more, then maybe the results for our life will be better." So this is something that I beat into her head. Like if I brought her up here right now and I said to her, "Zoe, I know it's not about winning. It's about learning." That's what she would say to you, because this is a thinking algorithm I'm giving her so that she can rely on it for herself. But I think it's okay for them not to do it. I think what's really special is that your daughter gave the medal to your son. That's pretty special. I don't know if the boys would do that, but I would say to you that you have to just remind her that not even you win all the time. Not even mommy wins all the time. And this is a part of life. And we have to, we can evaluate what could we have done better. Instead of focusing not on, we didn't get a medal, maybe we could focus on what to do better for next time. And it's this model of improvement that I would personally focus on with my kids. There's a blog that I wrote. It's called The Inner Fear for Mastery. It's all about Zoe and her this year. And so she wanted to jump in the pool this year. And she said to me, "Daddy, I can't jump." I go, "Zoe, all you got to do is step. Gravity will take care of the rest of it." And what I said to her, what you're saying to me is emotionally, you're scared to jump. It's not that you physically can't, you're emotionally. So let's just go through this. I remind her of all her wins, how she started skiing, or how she started riding a bike, or how we started small and then we kept expanding it. So I just reminded her that success, there's a process to her overcoming personal challenges. That's what I reminded her of. There's a great meme, by the way. Let me see if I can find it in my notes. I just made it recently.
No.
Is that good? I think this is it right here. All right. So I'm going to share my screen with you right now. Imagine if kids memorize this. There's a first time for everything. The first time I do it, it's the hardest. Each time I do it, it'll get easier. When I succeed, I'll study my actions so I can improve even more. If I don't get the right outcome, I'll learn from my mistakes so I can do it better next time. It does get easier. This is what Oprah would call a thinking algorithm. This is a process. Imagine if kids can internalize this thought that they just expected the first time. I'm just going to get better at it. I'm going to get better at it. I'm going to keep getting better at it. It's a powerful understanding. It's a powerful process, actually. Second one that we created was this one. And this might be consistent with what you're looking for because I know a lot of people say to me, Mr. Horton, all your memes are like they're too deep for me to understand. And I don't mean it to be that way. Here's one more. Nope, not that one. Sorry. Hi, Chloe. Say hi. Say hi.
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 Welcome. Can't wait to celebrate that sweet bundle.
All right, here it is. This is a good one. Imagine a child. Can you see this? I run a process through my mind. Everybody see this? So I run a process through my mind that causes me to experience certain feelings that I have collectively labeled as. I'll send you this. It's actually in the Mastery Community page. You don't have to take a screenshot of it. I'll send it to you. Think about this for a minute. I run a process through my mind that causes me to experience certain feelings that I labeled as blank. So what if, and I've said this already. This is a stretch, but I'll say it again. I think parents who can take a negative experience for their child and attach a positive emotion to it, that's incredible parenting. Think about what I just said. You can even write that down if you want. Your child has a negative experience and somehow you're able to have a conversation with them so that they can see the positive in this experience and they attach a positive to a negative outcome. What would happen, like for Zoe, and what I'm learning from Ofer is that emotions power everything. What we're afraid of, what we're excited about, what we believe we can do, what we can't do. And we attach these emotions to things all the time. And then we label them and then we classify or categorize them in our DNA and our soul. And then when this thing comes up, we have some feeling about it that either energizes us or scares us. So I'll even take it one step deeper for you right now. Here's my notes from the book I'm reading right now. This is crazy. This is crazy. This should scare the crap out of you. No, it's not that. Hold on. It's in my notes. Here it is. Do that to me. Here it is. Can you guys see this one? Can you read this up here? Can you see this? Let's give me, oh, there it is. All right. Feelings are biochemical mechanisms that all mammals and birds use in order to quickly calculate probability of survival and reproduction. Hello. I don't want to go, I can give you the book if you want, but this is a thought thinker from Israel. Feelings are based on calculations. Whew. Whew. Let that one sit in there for a little bit. Whew. Whew. Big data companies. Here it comes, by the way. Pulling on the emotions. Pulling on the emotions. All right. I don't want to get too off topic. Mr. LaValle, we had to come late. Yeah, I can send you a copy of the recording for sure. Yep. All right. Anybody else want to share something? Listen, I can talk all night if you never, I run a lot of coaching groups for martial artists around the world. I make 2 videos a day for the last 6 years of my life, 7 days a week. So I can talk a lot. My wife's happy I'm up here talking to you now instead of her. Just kidding. So somebody else really enjoy this. Busy, have to go. Okay. Thank you, Kim. Does anybody else want to have an aha moment or want to share something? I appreciate you guys sharing so far. It's more fun to see faces than black screens instead of looking at names. Anybody else? If not, I'm going to wrap it up. No, everybody's good. Chloe, congratulations on your medal.
Thank you.
It's so good.
Who did you give your medal to? If you, who did you give? Did you give to Max?
Oh, wait a second. Well, yada? What's that? Really?
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate you guys being here. I'm going to, I'll send out the link for the emotional parenting group. If you want that, send me a private message so I can keep track of you, and then I'll send it out. Send it through Facebook. I have the link to the group. I think you would really enjoy it. This 2 books that I've recently read that I think are fabulous for parents. One of them is The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem. And the other one is Unstoppable Confidence. They're fabulous books, fabulous books. They really give you a lot of insight as to activities and things you can do to help build your kids. And while I have you on the video, I'm going to throw one more thing at you right now, if I could.
What was that second book, sir?
Unstoppable Confidence. All right. So last thing I want to share with you guys, we've been talking to all of the mastery parents about the best way to help your child become a black belt and create excitement is to document their journey. Hi. So I want to share with you, when my daughter was born, I was going to write a code to create what we call a time capsule. And the time capsule was nothing more than an opportunity to journal their life. I wanted a process that she could go back to when she gets older and see her whole upbringing, what it was like, what it was. You know, it wasn't a year into this process that my wife finally said to me, "I'm so happy that you had the vision to do this," because we would have lost all these memories. And they're in sequence, you know, from one of her things that I mentioned earlier is that we ski. More specifically, I snowboard, but that's okay. And this is Zoe's first day doing it in my yard the first year. She was like 2.5, I think. She can't even stand up. And then like a week later, we were at Loon and this is what happened. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Oh no, it's going to hurt. Oh boy. All right. So she went from that to, you can see this, I've documented her skiing, some golf. She went to the leash. Okay, that's how you start to train them in skiing. And then last year, her last run of the year, this is what happened. So I always go back and remind her, here's where you started and here's where you are, so she can see the development. So I encourage parents to open up an Instagram page just for their child's mastery development. And can you imagine if you had your son's first white belt picture, his first kick, his first block, and then at each belt level, you could see the development. He could go back and see it. And when you see this progress, what happens? You feel good. You say, well, I'm really getting good at this. There are days that all of us feel like we're not getting any better at life. And we get a little frustrated. But if we could go back and see where we were 6 months ago, we'd think, wow, I'm so much better than I was then. And it's this video evidence, this evidence, if you will, of the past that proves to us that we are getting better. I mean, we all have highs and lows in life. You know, we have growth at times, then we have plateau times. Sometimes we fall a little bit, but opening up an Instagram account is something that all of our instructors have been encouraging parents to do, and start journaling their child's martial arts experience. I mean, you could do their whole life, but doing it, the martial arts your child would quickly be able to see how much they've improved. They can't remember their improvement, but when they see it on video, they love it. It's a powerful process. It's a really powerful process. But we're going to talk about those in future videos. I have a list of things that I want to share with you in the next video, but I'm going to do it piece by piece so that's not overwhelming. And the first part of it is just to answer those questions today. Think about the future now and what Freedom Day looks like, and let's start working toward that. And let's not let life get so busy that we're caught up in the mundane kind of the minutia of life, if you will. But let's like break away from it a little bit and be consciously aware of what we're doing. So anyhow, I hope this is helpful. I'm going to put the recording of this. I appreciate you guys participating and being vulnerable and talking today on the camera. It's not everybody wants to do that and go first, but I'm certainly not afraid of it. And I wanted to share this with our community because when we started Mastery, my goal for Mastery was not the physical martial arts. I knew that the martial arts was going to affect the emotions. And so we wanted to help kids feel powerful. We wanted to help kids feel strong. We wanted the kids to feel good. We wanted kids to have their inner voice be more powerful than their friend's voice. You know, as they get into those teenage years, we want them to make their own choices and be strong enough to do that. And that comes from within. That comes from kind of a strong sense of who they are and self-esteem. And really, when you know more about it, confidence and self-esteem is what drives our entire life, decisions and everything else. But it's how we classify and categorize all these emotions that really drive us too. So send me a Facebook message. Thank you for being here. I'll send you the link to the group. And if you want those books, I'll send those to you as well. Okay. Is this helpful? Okay, good. Well, thanks for being here. I'll put the recording up.
Thank you.
Bye. Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, sir.
See you, Mr. Rob.